All right. Welcome to the phone zone.
Welcome in. Welcome in.
That's one of my favorite crank yankers. It's the phone zone.
Frank Akers is back.
Yeah, but is it Jimmy and Adam doing it?
I don't know. I haven't watched it since it's been back. And I heard an interview with Corolla, but maybe it wasn't with Corolla. Maybe it was, I'm getting the two mixed up now. Because I've heard interviews with both of them since I heard that it was coming back, and I can't remember if both of them were talking about it separately. I was a little confused if they're just producing it or if they're involved or writing or what exactly they will be doing.
Yeah. Well, either way, good luck to them. It was a funny show. And I actually think in today's age with YouTube, if like late night shows, I don't watch them that often anymore. Or even like Saturday Night Live, if you don't catch it, you don't have to go back and watch it. Like you hit up YouTube and they'll have all like the highlights. So I think a show like that will be, could be pretty popular on the YouTube platform, like just the clip parts of it. But so last case, we're talking about the Big Four. For anybody that doesn't know who the Big Four are, they claim that there's a Big Four as far as the metal bands are concerned, and they went on tour years ago, but it was Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the Big Four.
Right.
And I think we're saying because Slayer was sued in the last case, but we were saying...
they were sued by the parents of the victim, and really, I mean, I get it. I get why they sued them, but Slayer didn't do anything bad. I mean, they're just putting out their music that, some people like it.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing. They're actually on tour right now, like their farewell tour. They will be done, I guess, after this one, or maybe like other bands who do a farewell tour, and then a couple years later they need some cash.
Yeah,
and so they're like, "Oh, the band's back together." The Big Four.
Yeah.
So the reason why we're talking this today in the garage is the Big Four. I suggested that Slayer only made it. They were only listed as the Big Four or a part of the Big Four because Pantera, who really truly at the heart and soul of it is Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul. And because of that horrible shootout I shouldn't say shootout, I mean the guy who
tragedy,
went into the place and shot up everybody in Columbus, Ohio, Pantera doesn't exist anymore. And so they weren't around really for this Big Four. And so I was saying like, yeah, Slayer's a good band and I do consider them, I mean, they're well known in that death metal genre.
Right.
Very well known. And so I guess they would be considered that, but I'm saying only because Pantera's not around to be in the Big Four. I would also argue too that Iron Maiden is a little too big, I think, to be tagging along in a 4-band tour. And I also think that Slayer made the cut because Iron Maiden either wasn't asked or did not want to be a part of it.
Right. I'd actually question if Pantera would have done that if they were asked to be a part of the Big Four.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the singer Phil and Vinnie Paul and Dimebag, from my understanding, I want to be clear, I have very limited knowledge of this, so I don't know if this is true or not, but I thought that they didn't like each other anymore, that they were on the outs.
No, I meant even if they were good, even if the band was good to go, I wonder... I've heard some rumblings in the past where they like Metallica, they like the guys in Metallica. I heard some rumors that there were certain things that they would do to kind of show up some of the bands that they thought went a little more mainstream.
Yeah, and the other thing you wonder too is like depending on what part of the country they would be in. I don't know how that Big Four tour would go, but would you have a different head? I mean, it would make sense to just have Metallica headline every show, I think, because they would be the biggest band of the four.
Right.
But in certain areas of the country, do you have somebody else step in and headline, or do you just adjust the three opening acts before Metallica, let's say? Because like in Texas, Pantera is a huge draw. They're from Texas, and in Dimebag Darrell, I really think of him as like the Stevie Ray Vaughan of death metal. His guitar playing is so phenomenal.
Or like the Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, but I because they're both Texas, that's the route I want to go. So
I'm going more Van Halen, but
Pantera would be a huge draw in the state of Texas, and then Anthrax is New York.
Yeah.
So you wonder, would they draw? You know what I mean? Like when we used to play in our band, a lot of times, now this was a million years ago, but back then it was whoever was considered to be the largest draw of that night in that area would usually take the headlining spot.
Right.
So I can't remember if Anthrax is New York, or if they're Long Island or a mixture of both. But I would suggest that even as big as Metallica is, there would be a couple towns that Anthrax might be the number one draw in that area.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we got started talking about Dimebag and Pantera, and then we would go on these back in the early days of the garage when we weren't recording. We'd have a lot of these times where we'd talk about a case or talk about music, which would then lead to us talking about a case. And this was definitely a situation where we're talking about a case that led us to talk about Pantera. Then it's like, well, what are the top 5 Pantera songs?
Yeah, we got a lot of high praise for bringing up Pantera, and even praise for saying that we thought they were better than Slayer.
Yeah, I think one, because the place that we played at a lot, we had headlined there. We sold out the Alrosa Villa to have that tragedy happen with Dimebag at that place. I think that has made a deeper connection between me and Pantera and me and Dimebag. And what was interesting, too, was I was teaching guitar lessons at the time of all that, and Dimebag was always with a company called Washburn. And one of my first electric guitars was kind of a Dimebag Darrell ripoff type guitar, and it was, a guitar player that used to be in our band, and he quit playing, and it was a really cool guitar, but it was definitely like a metal, guitar. But it was my first guitar, and then the Dimebag Darrell's guitar is it almost looks like a star, like a broken star in a way.
Right.
And he just switched to Dean, and we were an exclusive Dean dealer in the area. So they were coming out with, I think they came out with 5-6 different models of these Dean guitars, and they weren't super expensive. The Washburn, some of the Washburn guitars, his most famous guitar, it has like lightning bolts and stuff on it. Those at some point were going for like well over $1,000. These were a few $100s, and so I had tons of students buying these things up. And one of the coolest guitars that I've ever seen, and I'm taking a picture, and I'm gonna drag it over to your, let's see where, I'm going to drag this picture over to your phone so you can see it. It's one of my favorite guitars ever. It's called the Dimoflage.
Right.
And it's like, it's the black and white and gray camouflage, but it has different poses of Dimebag Darrell in the paintwork. It's one of the coolest guitars. Did it pop up yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of my favorite. If you ever get a chance.
It's a great looking guitar. But he was more famous for the Flying V style, right?
No, that's the same.
This is the same style, but he does like the guitar head.
Yeah, he has like the flying V head, but also, I mean, if you look at his guitar, it's pretty much a flying V with a spike coming out.
Mustaine was the flying V, right?
Mustaine did a lot of it. Well, his was the not so much a flying V; it was a lopsided flying V.
Yeah.
So one side would be longer than the others. But
and
yeah,
Dimebag Darrell's has the V shape at the bottom, but it's like a broken star, right?
yeah, it's
I don't. There's probably a name for this somewhere, but I don't know what it is.
If you get if you get a chance, look up some of the creations, because when Dean came out, they came out. The first one we got was like the replica where it was the lightning bolts, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, and you can get it for a couple $100. And then we got, it was called like the dime bag slime. It was like a lime green. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the Dymo Flame, which was just like a fire. And then the last one we got was the Dimoflage, and it was just like, oh, that's so awesome looking. But yeah, and then teaching, I taught so much. People would always ask me, so what do you do for a living? And my joke was, well, I teach Metallica and Green Day. Like, that was my joke for many years. Not a funny joke, but it was a joke nonetheless. And then it became, I teach Metallica, Green Day, and Taylor Swift. But one of the bands that people always ask.
So you're teaching what the students seem to be asking for? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was just kind of a thing.
Like, it was like you're more requested than others.
Well, you know how like people will say like, "What do you do for a living?" Like, and if you say teach guitar, there's normally a follow-up question, But if you start off with going, "Well, I teach guitar," I basically teach Metallica, Green Day, because that's what the kids want to learn. So that's what you teach them. But I think because of the tragedy, I can't say that word today, in Columbus, that made, I think, the connection for Columbus to Pantera a lot more connected. And so then I had a lot more students going, hey, can we learn some Pantera riffs?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, let's start it off. You want to start off with your...
So we're each going to list our top 5 Pantera songs. So this is like the best of Pantera according to the Garage Idiots.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 5 for me. And
hold on, this is the definitive list in the universe.
That's right. There is no arguing.
Yes.
So we've not seen each other. So we may have some of the same 5.
Yeah. They're probably just in a different order.
And very fittingly, my first one, my number 5, will be 5 Minutes Alone, off of the Far Beyond Driven 1994 album. Bounce with me.
That's the thing that they always had. They
had a groove to them.
Yeah, they had that southern, almost a swing type groove to their metal, where like Metallica, like early Metallica, was real straight.
Yeah,
and they had more of a, and that might come from them being from Texas and that like shuffle feel, that blues shuffle feel.
Well, and like this song in particular, you can hear like Dimebag puts like a real good crunch on the guitar, and then you got Phil's vocals that kind of crunch along with it. Like they're one of those bands, especially off of the Far Beyond Driven album, where they like, it's almost like you envision like this machine working. It just kind of like gears cranking around and all of that. Like that's what that sound like makes me think of.
Yeah, so that's 5 Minutes Alone.
5 Minutes Alone.
I will go with that one for number 5.
The number 5 is in the number, in the name, so
it's kind of like no duh.
Right.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Far Beyond Driven, I always love if you look up like any documentary on Pantera, it's like they knew that their next record was going to be huge, and then they came out with Far Beyond Driven, which was heavier.
Because they had a lot of success with Vulgar Display of Power.
But normally when a band knows, look, there's a lot of spotlight on us, here's our chance, you might capitalize with something a little more mainstream, and they're like, yeah, not doing that. We're going to rock it a little harder.
Yeah, and the album cover was very cool for Far Beyond Driven as well, because it looks like a photograph negative, but it's turquoise in color, like a bright blue-ish.
Yeah.
And it's the skull with the drill bit going into the forehead.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. So my number 4 would be, and I'll tell you what, I had a tough time with the order of these. Like, it wasn't
they
tough
could
for
all
me.
be number 1, really.
Yeah, it wasn't tough for me to decide what my 5 favorites are. But I was jokingly going to say that it was like a psycho holiday trying to put these in some kind of order. So for number 4 for me, I'm going to go with This Love, which doesn't. So for the people out there that only know a few Pantera songs, they're probably like, this doesn't sound Pantera so much. But it starts off soft, and then at some point it's back to that machine death metal. Now I have a sad story about this song. And whether you want to hear it or not, Captain, you're going to listen to it now. I saw Pantera live probably 1996, I'm guessing.
I don't know if we're allowed to play the music.
Oh, yeah, we're allowed to play it. Here we go.
That's a cool riff. That intro riff's really cool.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, Dimebag really was extremely talented. Like, he wasn't one of these, like, death metal guitar players that could only play metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this dude could have played any genre. He could, whatever he wanted. We're gonna let it get heavy, and then I'll tell you my story. Oh, that's that good, wholesome Pantera sound that you love.
Yeah, but that sound actually reminds me a little of Anthrax.
Yeah.
No, take this love. Yeah.
So that song for me at one time was probably my favorite Pantera song, if not obviously one of my favorite Pantera songs, but it has a bit of a bad memory and a stain on it, because when I saw Pantera in like 96, this is the only time that I've ever seen them live. And they were playing with other bands, but I remember they were the band I was looking forward to the most that day, right? So they came out and they were more than halfway through their set. They were playing a great set because with how clean and crunchy and everything their sound is. I wondered if they could sound that clean live, and they did. And Phil, the singer, who he had his own demons, you know, it battles with heroin, and that's a good reason why that they weren't together forever, let's say. But he was drinking, I believe it was Jack Daniels, and drinking straight from the bottle, you know, Michael Anthony style.
Yeah.
And there was part of me that wondered if it was just a prop, you know, if it was maybe diluted alcohol or if it was just something cool to do on stage. That was my assumption at the beginning of the set, because I'm like, this dude's not going to, if he's drinking it like that, he will not be able to finish the set. And a little more than halfway through, I figured out that it was not a prop, because he was very obviously extremely drunk at some point. And he was kind of like, they started playing this song, This Love. And
That's love.
Yeah, he started like teasing the crowd, like poking fun at the crowd, because the crowd like went crazy when they started that riff. You know, everybody in the crowd likes that song. And he starts like mocking the crowd because he's shit-faced hammered. I don't know if he knew what planet he was on.
Yeah.
He's killed more than 2/3 of a big bottle of Jack Daniels in the last 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it did kind of upset me. I'm not going to lie, because
He killed 2/3 of his liver as well.
you pay a lot of tickets to go to the show, and then the singer makes fun of you because you like their song because it's popular on MTV. And I think,
fuck him.
right, it really pissed me off. But and I'm sure it probably pissed off the other dudes in Pantera who are like, "Wait, how can you tease somebody for liking something you've created? Like mock them?
yeah.
That's weird."
I'm going to tell a little story. When we're going on a cruise ship, me and you were going on a cruise ship. And I won't say the band's name because I don't want to. But I was thinking about this the other day. I was driving down the road, and there's like I don't ever think like, let's rewind time and start again at 10, right? But I would love to like wake up one day and Newman is there, right? And he's like, I'm your guardian angel, and I can take you back in time, and you can redo a couple things, right? There's probably at least 5 moments that I'd like to go back and change my actions. And one of them was we were hanging out with a band which was not popular, wasn't known to many people, right?
Right.
We're going on a big cruise ship with big bands like 311, and this band is maybe in the top 5 of the cruise, would you say?
If you're talking about who I think you're talking about, they were close to, in most situations they seem to be going on right before the headliner or 2 bands before the headliner, and that's kind of how you rank everybody, I guess. So they were one of the bigger bands on the ship, yeah.
Right, but they're, we're drinking, and you could tell that you were, feeling good, which is not a bad thing. But they started giving you some shit because
I was a fan.
Because you're a fan, and it's like, but it was funny because one, you're a little more confrontational than me, but you said very politely, like, well, look, it's because of me that you guys have anything, like, so I don't know why you're like dogging me about this. But if I could rewind time, I would have just punched the guy in the fucking face and said, wait, are you making fun of your fans? Yes, we are. Punch, and just move on with my life.
I might have been giving them too much credit, because I think the comment that was off-putting to them, which I wasn't trying to be off-putting or anything, but I think they thought I was like a crazy fan when I was like, you guys opening up for 311 is like Pink Floyd opening up for Phil Collins. It doesn't make any, you know what I mean? Like, because to me, I had all of their albums, this band, and you know how like when you really fall for when you really start digging a certain band, and maybe you've come on and they've already put out multiple albums before you kind of find them on your own,
right?
And you're like, oh, I freaking love this band, and you want to devour everything that they put out. So that's why I was in that mode where I'm like, I had bought 3 or 4 of their albums within the last 6 months and was listening to all of it. And then we went on that cruise. The cruise was fun though.
Well, and one time that I don't want to replay is I was on a cruise, and so I'd play late night on the cruise as just a cover band. But if you're on the cruise, like a lot of the people going on the cruise, they didn't just look at you as a cover band. They would want an autograph or a picture or whatever. So I'm sitting at the bar, and I'm taking some pictures with a girl, and this guy, I hear him saying to his friend, who the hell is that, basically, and like kind of dogging me. And I'm drunk, and I notice that it's the drummer for Lifehouse. And never been a big Lifehouse fan, but they were amazing live, and his drumming made the show, I think. Like the energy, and they just it was like way more rock and roll than what you hear like on their records.
All right.
And I remember the whole cruise going, I want to go up to him and say, man, you're a really good drummer. I really enjoyed watching you play. But I was drunk. And I remember telling myself, don't tell him that you're not a Lifehouse fan. Like, that's rude. Just say he's a good drummer, And then so the guy I hear him talking a little shit to me, and so then I go up to him, and the first thing I say is, "Never really cared too much for Lifehouse.
Right, here's a backhanded compliment.
But you're an amazing drummer." And then the guy's like, "What the hell?" And then I think I told I don't know if it was his manager or his buddy. I think I looked at the manager and buddy because I was so wasted. I was like, "Hey, if he wants to go right now, we can tango." And the guy just looked at me like I was nuts, and then walked away. And then every time I saw him for the rest of the cruise, he gave me the dirty eye. But the old stink eye. Hey, but I can't help it that you put out some shit singles, buddy. Get it together. Get it together. All right, where are we at on the list? Number 4, you say This Love. My number 4 is Walk.
Oh,
Yeah, that's one of their most popular songs, but
yeah, bounce with me. Because this is my number 3.
But here's what I love about this. Is a lot of like
Get it.
Pantera songs. Like now, like when you're making a record, a lot of people want, because there's a lot of synthesis used, they'll make sure that your tuning of your guitar is 100% correct, right?
Right.
A lot of Pantera songs, you actually have to tune your guitar to the record, or you're wrong. Sometimes they're like, when you tune a guitar, it's all in cents. So sometimes Dimebag would be like 10 cents off of where you should be.
Yeah.
And so if you really want to play a lot of Pantera songs correctly, you have to tune to the record. And Walk was one of the first songs I was like, oh shit, my guitar doesn't sound correct. So then you have to adjust to them. But yeah, that was a popular riff in the lesson world. All right, so your number 3
is Walk.
Is Walk.
And me playing that little bit of Walk right there, somewhere we made someone's workout a little more intense.
They ran a little faster.
Just for like 30 seconds, they were able to lift 360 pounds.
What's the line where he says, walk on home, boy?
Yeah. Yeah, the end.
Yeah.
Walk on home, boy.
Yeah.
Or is that at the end, or is that right before the guitar solo? Might be right before the
he
solo.
He might say it twice. I'm not for sure. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Are you just for clarification purposes, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
All right, so number 3, you have Walk. I have I'm Broken.
Oh, yeah. Back to the... so Walk is off of Vulgar Display of Power.
Yeah.
Which came out in 1992. And then Broken is the 4th song on the 94 album Far Beyond Driven.
Yeah. I'm Broken. That just... it's a great... it has a bounce to it. It's a great workout song. It's a great running song.
Bam, bam, down, down.
Burn out. Yeah.
Number 2 for me will be... This was the song that got me listening to Pantera. Cemetery Gates.
Yeah, I think it's very accessible as far as like pop music.
Well, and it was actually released twice. So it was released when Cowboys from Hell came out in 1990. It was released as a single then. But then years later, it was released as a single on a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So it was one of those songs that makes a comeback, does another time around.
And it actually shows that Phil was actually really talented as a singer.
Yeah.
Because not only could he scream and yell and deliver things with a bounce, but he could actually carry a tune.
Well, and the cool thing, too, was like, if you go to the Cowboys from Hell album, 1990, it makes sense that it's 1990 because it has like a late 80s heavy metal feel to it.
Yeah, like his
vocals
metal
are
ballad.
Yeah, his vocals are I think, quite different in Cowboys from Hell than what they are in Far Beyond Driven.
Yeah. And that's that harmonized guitar, very 80s.
Yeah. This might be my number 2 Pantera song, but that's one of my favorite guitar riffs.
To me, that's very Motley Crue.
This is a good one. Get it!
That is not on my list. And
All
I'll,
right.
and I'll tell you why, because that intro part is like this picking part.
Right.
I like to play, I can do like fingerstyle guitar, and that's what I like doing. But I never liked, Dimebag picks that intro, right? And
It sounds like it, yeah.
and it's very like you said, 80s. Also, it's very Metallica, intro type. But it's picking, with the pick. And now if I play that song, I can play it pretty easy if I just use my fingers. But that's not how he's playing it. So I always thought it was important as a guitar instructor to go, well, this is how he played it.
Right.
So we're going to learn it the way he played it, because that's how the amalgamation of all the guitar players that we study is going to going to influence us. So instead of, you can't just tell a student, well, we're not going to pick that with a pick because I don't like to do that. So that was probably the most requested song to learn by Pantera, and it's my least favorite because I'm just not the picking with a pick. That style, not my favorite. So my number 2 is Cowboys from Hell. That is my number 2.
Well done, sir.
Because this riff is gnarly. And it's almost impossible to get it to sound like him.
Yeah, it comes in sounding like a video game kind of at the beginning.
Yeah, this part you can get to sound like him.
Yeah. But you can hear the difference in his vocals, especially, well, really it's on this whole album, but you can hear the more 80s style right there. Come on, baby.
That's Van Halen-y, right there.
Yeah. That's my number 1, Cowboys from Hell.
Oh, good.
I love that one. That one, it's that song is just like a really great driving song. When you're in the car, that's a great one to just crank up, push the pedal down as far as it will go, and just drive.
That's funny because we didn't plan any of this out. And the reason why my number 1 is my number 1 is it's one of my favorite driving songs of all time. And that is Great Southern Trendkill.
Oh, that's the only one that I don't have on my phone to play for you.
Oh, you don't? Hold on. I think I have it.
So I like the title song on there. Well, 50-50. But, yeah, so that album was when the band really started falling apart.
There it is.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
This is one of their singles that really didn't last. You know what I mean? Like, this was one that was played heavy on the radio when it was first released, and it's not, you hear Walk. You hear Walk on the radio, I would think fairly often still today, right?
Yeah, again, I think this is another situation where they had an opportunity, a spotlight, and I think that there was like a chip on their shoulders where they're like, let's go even heavier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of, I think if they would have stayed within the, vulgar and far beyond driven, I think if they would have stayed in that realm, that this record would have been a bigger hit. And I would actually say that I'd say the majority of the people that bought this record bought it simply because of the back catalog. Like, Pantera has a new record, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah,
not because you heard it was amazing.
You're a little starved for some new music too at some point. Once you've overplayed the 3 albums you already have. They were together for years before. I think they started in the early 80s and actually did 4 independent albums before they got signed. And so to me, yeah, Great Southern Trendkill is not, I don't know that I would say it's heavier, it's faster. It's kind of like speed metal.
Yeah.
And there's some good songs on that album, but for me, it kind of took away from what I liked about Pantera was they had the groove. They had some groove to them.
Yeah, and this was more straight. Like
this was straight speed, yeah.
But also with that kind of groove or that kind of bounce, it's hard to not write stuff that doesn't sound similar.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the record, but for some reason that song, I just like to put it on when I'm driving.
It is a good driving song.
And especially when he goes, Great Southern Trendkill. That's right.
That's right.
That's
right.
Like that. But it's
that's right. You heard me.
Well, I love when it sounds like they're puking. Great Southern Trendkill. Blah.
I'm singing through the puke.
Blah. So yeah. No, but yeah, and yeah, I don't know. That's my top. So okay. I'll go
for those of you scoring at home.
Yeah. 5 Minutes Alone.
Yep.
Number 4 was Walk. Number 3, I'm Broken. Number 2, Cowboys from Hell. Number 1, Great Southern Trendkill.
I too at the 5 spot did 5 Minutes Alone. At the 4 spot, what did I do? This Love. 3 spot, Walk. 2 spot, Cemetery Gates, and number 1 in my heart, Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah. But you're probably right about the number 1 spot.
I don't think there's a right. It's just whatever you like.
Yeah. Yeah. I might not be right, but I know I'm not wrong.
There you go.